There's a big difference between fiction books and nonfiction books, and it's not all what you think. Many authors have no idea the difference, and they think they're writing fiction, but in actuality, it's nonfiction. When you start writing your truth, you really believe that it should be nonfiction. Let me tell you some stories about the different genres of books. There are many, 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 many different genres. And the book's positioning of your book is very crucial for the publisher when it comes to where they place you in the retail space. To us, you may think your book is fiction. To others, they may think it's nonfiction. What's the difference? Who is it? How is it? I was with an author yesterday, and he's talking to me and says, I've got this great nonfiction book. It's about an alien that comes down from outer space and takes over all of the land. And so he's still talking about his nonfiction book, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he doesn't know. So, of course, I stop him and say, is it fiction or nonfiction? He's like, it's nonfiction. I mean, it's like a story that I made up. So I told him, stop right there. Let's go through the genres, just like I'm about to go through you. Nonfiction means that it's pure fact, and it's from you, you're the author, and you're able to articulate specifically what is in the book, and it's all factual. Fiction are creative stories with different names, different ideas, and different concepts that are not true. Almost like fact versus fiction. So in your mind, fact is nonfiction, fiction is not true fiction. There are many genres in both. Did you know that nonfiction is 80% of the marketplace? All of the books all over the world, 80% of those are nonfiction. Check my facts on that, but I do think it's a pretty big number. Fiction, although, when you go into the bookstores, there's a lot of fiction books that really take over a space, which is amazing, right? To be able to experience fiction in the stories. Personally, I'm a nonfiction girl. I like truth. I like identity. I like your stories. That's true. What do you like? So for me, nonfiction wins always. It always will. Now, there are some fiction books that I'm obsessed with that, of course, I'll stand the test of time, and they're always going to be on my bedside table. But I love nonfiction, learning about people, understanding what they talk about, how they're an expert, how they're an authority of their work. So for this process that I'm going to take you through, nonfiction is going to be my main discovery here. So publishers take you through a positioning document. And this positioning document is a very important document for really all books. But for this, I want you to think about it in the sense of your title. Book positioning is an exercise that the publishers take you through after they've acquired your book. And it works through everything. They spend hours and hours thinking about your positioning of your book. And I want to let you in on how they do that because it'll help you cultivate what your next book is. These questions are points that they really spend a lot of time on, so I encourage you to do this as well. Book positioning and messaging helps the editor, your editor, identify the book's concept and present it to the entire world. So when you're talking about your positioning, how do you want to put your book forward? What messaging do you want to share? This is really a very intense process, so I encourage you to take time of what this is. This is the exercise. It'll help you craft your book message and identify your book audience and maybe figure out what a title and subtitle is. But the more specific you can get with these questions, the more tangible the deliverables are and the better your book positioning is. So here is the outcome that we're looking for. We want to align very clear language, what is the position and how to promote your book effectively. So it's the position and how to promote your book effectively. Number one is the motivating impulse. Think about it in one or two sentences. Describe the main motivating impulse that will drive your readers to pick up your book. What is their key problem? What's the question? What is their desire? Here's some examples. I want to leverage my academic knowledge to address this specific limiting belief, but I don't know really how to apply it practically. Another motivating impulse is, I feel stuck, but I don't really know what I'm doing with my life. How can I unlock my full potential and contribute meaningfully? A third one would be, I've achieved success in my field, but I really still feel unfulfilled. How can I find meaning, and how can you help me do that? The second point are the emotions associated to that motivating impulse. So think about 1 to 3 emotions that really resonate with your audience based on this motivating impulse. This will help you guide what the tone of the messaging is. If it's about grief, I don't think you're going to be all happy-go-lucky. If the book is about grief, I don't think you're going to be really happy and jovial in your emotions. If it's about frustration, well, maybe it's kind of frustrating on how to translate what that knowledge is into action. If it's anxiety, maybe it's whether they have anxiety about being too late, or maybe there's not enough time for your change to happen. Another one is the specific audience makeup. Who is this reader? Describe that person, that one person that you're going to be writing to, or that you've written your book for. Who is she? What do they do? What's their relationship status? Do they have kids? What hobbies do they have? The fourth is the author credibility. This is where you really position yourself as that trusted voice in that particular topic. And it addresses the book subject matter, but also expands who you are and what you do for a living. If you're an influencer or a podcaster, or you have a value that you really, really trust that you want to share with the world, or if you're a financial advisor and you want to talk about how to help people save money, what is that credibility? How does a credibility support your book? Are there accolades or maybe a lived experience that you want to share? Now it's to the big idea, summarizing the book's central promise so that we really know the unique perspective in about 1 or 2 sentences. So an example would be, my book's going to learn how to use this specific knowledge as a tool and a pattern to help you have big transformation. Or maybe it's like there's a roadmap or some sort of guidepost along the way that you will be able to give practical tips and tricks for the reader to create change. These are the things that's the big idea, summarizing the book so that's very clear there's a benefit for the reader. And the final point are these statements. Outline about 3 to 5 specific benefits that the reader will get. So it's almost like takeaways. What do you want me to take away from your concept? Give it to me very clearly, and also analyze, what is it? Like, use adjectives. Don't make it like, oh, this is going to really make myself a better person. No, what is better? What does that mean? How do we really get into what better means? So again, I'll recap this about the positioning. It's, again, the motivating impulse. It's what emotions are associated with it. Who is the specific audience? What's the credibility that you bring to the table? What's the big idea? Summarizing that. And then the reader benefits. This is what the positioning of a book really entails. And it helps you get clear on what your purpose is with the book. And again, when we think about all the genres, you can use this for fiction and nonfiction. I find it interesting that a lot of my authors will come to me and say, I want to write a children's book. But what happens is the children's book is actually a book for adults, written for a younger audience. So I really challenge you to think about, who is my audience? Is my book a children's book? Or maybe it's a coffee table book. I have a joke. A coffee table book is not a coffee or a table. Discuss, right? Some people love to write coffee table books. Are you intimidated by the writing process that you think you just only need to write a couple of sentences here and there and then have pictures? What if you were able to write more than just a coffee table book? What if your children's book was so much bigger than just a couple of pages for a 3-year-old? Really think about what this position is. Again, sometimes it really does fit. A fiction book is for a fiction audience. But I welcome you to think about it in other ways. I did have an author come to me and have this really great story that was not the alien one, but they were talking about my life is like fiction. They were telling me that their mother had a mental illness and she had to be committed into a psychiatric ward that then threw her out on the street. And she didn't want to use her mother's name. She wanted to protect her mother. So she put the mother's name into a different area of the world and actually changed her mother's name and added some more characters. And so really fictionalized her mother's life. And it was all because she was afraid of what her mother would say about the book. But what I encourage her to do and what I encourage you to do is really assess, is your book fiction or can you write it nonfiction and really tell the truth? Sometimes the truth is better than fiction. And don't be afraid to think about, what does the book mean to me as the author? Because that's where true authenticity comes into play. Just maybe you don't need to put not real stories into your nonfiction book. So I do have a beautiful historical fiction novel that I'm working on, and it's actually a true story written about the author's family. The author's family has a really rich history, but what we couldn't figure out is there's so many facts that she had to create it as fiction because, there were so many facts that we could not confirm that if we were to share it as a factual book, because it's so many generations ago, in a way we had to write it in fiction. So there are exceptions to the rule with everything, but I really encourage you to think, what is my genre? What is the positioning? And why is it so important to have such a clear vision of what that positioning is? So really think about it as you're discovering what this book is and what you want to write. I look forward to hearing about it.